Hey everyone, this is Stephen Strawn at Cast Iron Cookware, where you can find information to help you better collect, restore, and use cast iron cookware. Today I'm going to be sharing part of my collection / addiction of cast iron cookware. I'm going to share some of my odd pieces, and I'm going to be doing that coming right up. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has purchased my product, Easy Beezy Cast Iron Seasoning. The purchase of this product helps keep this channel going, and I really do appreciate it, and thank you so very much. So let's get on into the video. On previous playlists, I've shared quite a few pieces from my collection. I don't have a lot of very expensive pieces. I do have a few that I consider my favorites, and some more that I consider oddballs that just don't really fit in anywhere. Probably one of my most oddball pieces that I have is this Foundry of the Shoals clock. You may have seen it in my videos hanging on the wall. I've had a lot of people say it's always 3 o'clock in the pan cave, and yeah, that's correct. This one here has not been working since I bought it, and I need to get it working. It's just got the internal workings, just a little AA battery that runs it. But I've tried putting a battery in it and it doesn't work. I believe that I can find a mechanism to work on this. And right here on the inside it says, made from original pattern of an old iron skillet. And it looks a lot like a Martin stove and range skillet. And this is a Foundry of the Shoals. And when Martin went out of business, I think the Foundry of the Shoals pretty much took over where Martin left off, because this looks a lot like a Martin, almost like a 3-notch lodge, but we have 4 notches in this one. And these here were made specifically for a clock. It's not a cast iron skillet that was converted. It even has the raised letters. All these letters are raised. So it was made for a clock, I believe, to give to their employees. I think they made horseshoes. I think they made a clock, a sundial, some bookends, and 2 or 3 other items. If you know of any of the other items that were made by the Foundry of the Shoals, I'd like to see in the comments, what you have. But I do know that they made a few, and this is one that I consider to be kind of special. It's got a little notch right here just for electrical cord. So I think originally it may have had electrical cord inside there, and somebody replaced it with a battery operated version, and the battery operated version died as well. One of my favorite pieces, and I'm going to hang it back on the wall so that I'll always know it's 3 o'clock in the pan cave. It is right twice a day. One of the other pieces that I think that's kind of unusual is my little My Pet skillet. Now, My Pet, I'm not really sure who made the My Pet skillets or if it was a foundry of its own, but it says My Pet, the Western Foundry Company, Chicago. Keeps food tasty. This is a number 8, and it's got a heat ring, so I think it's probably going to be kind of old. I don't know the date, and if you know the date on this one right here or any information, please leave it in the comments. I'm sure that a lot of the other viewers would like to have some information on it too. I do apologize for not having a lot of information on these pieces. These are kind of the oddballs in my collection, and I just wanted to share some of them. It has large pour spouts, and it's not very heavy. If you have any of the My Pet pieces, please share them in the comments. Here's another really oddball piece. It is heavy, and it is a chrome cast. I can get it where you can see there we go. Chrome. Spelled with a K, and the cast is spelled with a K inside a diamond. And this has got a little bit of a hammered look around the edges. It has got a really nice finish. I believe these were made in Germany. Not totally sure. Like I said again, I apologize for not having a lot of information on these. I'm really hoping that I'll get information inside the comments. So check out the comments and share if you have information on it, or if you have other pieces made by Chromecast. Kind of unique. I was at a friend's house that collects cast iron and trades. I said, what kind of piece is that? He said, if you want it, you can have it. I said, it's odd, I'll take it. Another odd piece I got from my nephew, and it is a fish fryer. Now, I believe it is a lodge. My nephew found this buried in his backyard. He was cleaning up and, doing some weed eating or whatever, I don't know, but he seen that part of it was sticking up. He said, hey, this looks like a piece of cast iron. He dug it up and it was rough. The unique thing about it is the handle. It's got a little hole right in the middle. I believe it is an older lodge, not totally sure. It looks like the lodge fish fryer that you see, the newer versions and the ones that are the vintage variety. And it has the little legs on the back, little nubs, I guess you'd say. And it turned out really nice. Like I said, I do believe it is a lodge, probably an older lodge. It had probably been buried in my nephew's backyard for years. Here's a piece that I thought was really interesting when I picked it up. I got this at a flea market, and it's a Japan piece. I've seen a few other Japan pieces that has this particular pattern on the bottom. And like I said, it was made in Japan. Right here, it's like a mini chef skillet. Got a nice little lip. It's great for omelets. I used it for a little while and then I wound up hanging it up, and I don't really use it now, but it's interesting. Don't know when it was made. This is a number 6, and here is the back of the handle. Here's some of the lettering. I thought it was interesting to have an American style 6 as a marker. And right here, it looks like a 1 in this little small part. And the other, it may be some kind of Japanese character. Not really sure. If you have any pieces like this that are Japan or Japanese made, leave them in the comments too. I would like to see a lot of interesting comments here. Now here's a piece that I picked up at a little trade day close to where I live. Since then, the trade day that was there went away. I guess COVID just pretty much took its toll on it. But it has a lid that has the little 2-part handle. And this one right here is a Phillips and Budorf. I'll try to spell that. Phillips and Budorf. It's kind of unique. It's a Dutch oven. Of course, the lid's got a big number 1 on the bottom. Of course, this is a number 8. Doesn't have drip basters. Here's what it looks like where the bell connects on the side. It doesn't have a pour spout. Here's the other side. And this big piece right here is pretty much common with the Phillips and Budorf. And there's our number 8. Of course, I have it upside down. Let's get a better look at it this way. And it's got this little design right here that's kind of got a little bit of a flow to it. Another thing I thought was really interesting is this big letter H on the bottom. It's a raised letter. Also, this is a gate marked piece. And just in case you don't know, when you get a piece that was gate marked, of course all pieces are gate marked, but this is a bottom gate marked piece. Whenever they poured the cast iron into the mold, that's where they poured it, from the bottom. And there was always a big piece that was left over, and they would grind that down, and that would leave a gate mark. So bottom gate marked pieces. Now your newer pieces are still gate marked, but they're gated on the edges, so when they grind those down, you don't ever see them. It just becomes part of the rim of the cast iron. This one right here is really interesting because the heat ring is so deep. I mean, it's got a huge, deep heat ring. So this one here is probably made in the late 1800s, probably 1890, 1895. May have even went on up into the first few years in the 1900s. Not really sure, don't know a lot about Phillips and Budorf, but very cool name. Here's one of my favorite of all time makers. Birmingham Stove and Range. Now this here's got some issues, but here's an enameled piece. Birmingham Stove and Range enameled piece. Now this is yellow. I have seen them orange with a white interior, and I have seen them with a brown color. Now this in here, the enamel has been chipped off of the heat ring, I guess years of use. Got a few chips on the inside, but this is a Birmingham Stove and Range Century Series piece. Now Birmingham Stove and Range did not do the enameling on these. Other companies would purchase the Birmingham Stove and Range pieces, and then they would enamel them. Then they would sell them as kind of an aftermarket type of business. Now these are great when it comes to sauces like spaghetti sauce, because you don't have to worry about seasoning. Here's a piece that one of my subscribers sent me. Don't have a clue who the maker is, but it is strange. It's got the pour spout in the front end. No pour spouts on the side. Got this great big handle with a great big hanger hole. Of course, this one is a bottom gate marked piece. And at one time, I don't know if it had longer legs and they were ground off. I believe these are actually the legs that came on it, but I'm not sure. It may have had longer legs and they ground them off. Don't really know. Usually the skillets that have legs on them are called spiders. Now this one has a little bit of a wobble. It's an old piece. I would say it was probably made 1880, 1885, 1890. I don't know, right in there somewhere, because of the bottom gate mark. Very light. Like I said, this one was sent to me by one of my subscribers. Said, I have a really interesting piece that you may be interested in. And I said, sure, I would like to see that. So I've got a couple more pieces that are not actually cast iron cookware. But I was in a little store doing a wild video and run across this little lantern. Now, it is kind of heavy and it's got a spring-loaded door. Now, we actually put a little tea light candle when it was hanging on the front porch. And I didn't season this. I actually cleaned it and then I spray painted it with a Rust-Oleum paint. Now, one thing I can say about these right here is they attract wasps. As soon as I had it hung up, the next day there was a wasp nest in it. I took the wasp nest, got it out. The next day there was another one. So I finally just took them down because of the wasps. Here is another one. It's kind of a Chinese style little lantern. It's got a little door on the front, and it also collects wasps. I'm telling you, they're really pretty on the front porch, but I don't know much about them, except for they're just like a little lantern that you put a little candle in it, and it's pretty cool. But I thought I'd share it just because it's interesting. Now, I know I haven't really given a lot of information on these pieces as far as the date, the maker. I don't really know a lot about these, but I thought, well, I would just like to share some of the oddball pieces that I have. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I promise I'll keep more coming. You can check out Cast Iron Cookware on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Check out the Cast Iron Cookware Facebook group. I will leave a link to all of these sites below in the video description. And don't forget to leave a comment of your favorite oddball piece in the video comments. And I just want to say thank you again for watching Cast Iron Cookware. Before we go, I just want to share something with you really quickly. In Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and 2, it says, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. I just want to say, share the word and be a blessing.